Hi, this is B from Sorcery Soap, and today we're going to make straw dolls or corn dolls. So I think last year, I don't remember. Oh, well, I'm going to say a while ago. This came across my view anyway. I didn't quite understand them, but I grew up and I saw them, and I call them straw dolls or corn dolls. And one of the things farmers, which are oftentimes mistaken for pagans because they live more rurally and they have their own customs, but throughout ancient history, rural people were seen as different. Anyway, they would make these corn dolls out of the husks. And the husk is the dry part of the corn that gets... sometimes it's ground up and fed to pigs for feed or other livestock or used as bedding. It has little nutritional value, but anyway, it's the husk part when the corn starts to come to fruition, and there's a dry part of it. Not the silk, but sometimes the silk too could be used for these as well. But so they make these little dolls, and then so I did some research and I discovered that they make these little dolls, these little corn dollies, which growing up I saw them sold at like churches, in my church and some other places, and I never really understood them because I didn't have that kind. Even though I grew up in the country, I didn't really have that part of it. Anyway, I'm tangenting, but more to the point. So what they do is they use these, but they plant an intention. And the reason that they make these, as with all things, it depends on the intention of it, is that they wanted them to protect the home and the livestock and personal wellness of the maker or the family or whoever was gifted to it, and to support the spirit of the crop and to support their own prosperity. And so I put these little lavender buds in here, and oftentimes they might not come through, but I've been criticized for these little lavender buds many, many times, which I find really surprising. I found them adorable and a nice little adjunct to the little corn doll. And the reason that I put those in there is because that's supposed to represent abundance and prosperity and well-being. And so lavender, as you know, is not necessarily a nutrient overtly, where corn is. So for a rural person to be putting lavender on things, it's more a want than a need. And that is a gift, to be able to determine the difference between a want and a need, just to know. So I put the lavender buds on there as being able to honor the prosperity and the want instead of just the need, because the prosperity is definitely a need. And anyway, so there we go. So we're going to start this, and I just made this so it's a little bit soft still. And this is a very interesting color. This will be available on September 11th at Sorcery Soap, this color yellow, and we call it goldenrod because in the package it looks like a goldenrod color, but now that I'm using it, it looks more neon yellow. It's not quite our neon yellow. Our neon yellow, the color we use that is really like tickles the eyes, is candy corn. That's really a bright yellow. So we're gonna keep calling this goldenrod for now, but so you know, when it comes in the package, it's sort of dingy. It looks a little bit dark, but this is the color. See, this is what it looks like in the package, which I find really interesting. And here, let me show you. See, it looks like that. And then I just put this in the extruder, and now it comes out that nice bright yellow. So who knows, but we're calling it goldenrod. So now you have a working definition. So if you're interested in being more clear about intention and intention into your soap, because we do affect each other, and our works have ripple effects into the world. here you go. Here's how to make corn dollies in soap. So I have an extruder right here, and these can be found on, well, I found mine on Amazon, but you can find them in a lot of different places. And they're varying degrees of extruders. Some of them are much more complicated and therefore way more expensive. And also this right here, if you have to pop that out in order to clean underneath of it, and eventually that's going to break. Mine broke. This is a replacement one. So there's that piece. So here we go. This is the top I'm using. So I wanted to show you how I assembled this. So when I do this, I want it to look frayed on the end right here. So I'll use the other end, and then I twist that. There. And I'm using softer, this is a little bit softer soap dough. I'm using this because it has less chance of breaking and it'll stick together pretty nicely. If I use a little bit firmer, which you've seen me use in other videos, pieces just break when they're this small. So there's a trick that if you want to have resiliency in your soap dough, there's a time and a place for a slightly sticky soap dough. It's a little fiddlier, but in the end, there. I'll put a touch of water on that. And now I want to do this. So I made these earlier so that they're a little firmer. These have the straw arms on them, or the frayed arms like this, which I only used a couple little pieces there. And so my soaps are about this big. They're about, I think they're 2 1/4 or 2 1/8 of an inch wide. So I don't want to make them too terribly big, but I will just chop their arms off if they're too big. And so here, pinch that to make the top. So I think I want it to be a bit bigger. and so they would just pay somebody to harvest it too. So I never really witnessed any of that. We did, us the kids, we got to go through the field afterwards and pick up remnants, like any corn that was left over from the combine, which was pretty fun because then we had fresh corn. But I wasn't part of the harvesting. Plus, I was super allergic to all that stuff, so I would get really sick if I was around it too much, even though a lot of my peers, they took part-time jobs in the summer to harvest corn, and I begged and begged. I wanted to so much, and I just absolutely couldn't because my parents said I would end up in the hospital, and I just didn't believe them. I didn't believe my allergies were that bad, and that's rather embarrassing. So... okay, so here is the neon purple, which is stunning. It's just absolutely stunning. It's one of my guy's favorite colors. To keep things separate so that I'm as honorable as possible and I don't unleash that onto you, because that's just not okay. It's not. There. I could put another one on there. Some of these I put 3. I put 2 on these because they're very small. They're so tiny. But I like the color and the contrast of this color. I think it's nice. Plus I really like the thought, even if like other people don't know what we do or why we do certain things, I think it's okay. Not everybody has to get it. There. So there you go. There's a little corn doll or a straw doll. I call them straw dolls on the website. Maybe I'll call them corn dolls this time. And then I'll let that set because it is a little bit volatile right now. And let that set and I'll keep making more, and then I'll have some soaps like that. And then here's this one, which I smashed quite a bit just so I was going to try and do this on camera, but that's not going to work. So it's best that I just make them and let them set and then come back and revisit them. See, it just broke the arm off. They can be pretty fixed. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and of course, getting some really great questions. And if you have any thoughts or comments, just leave them below. Okay, bye.